fill out a form and I'll send it to Benita, but you'll get it. There won't be any surprises on there. So, what got you interested in the social media? I see, you have some experience of it.
Well, I've always been a talkative guy since I was little. I really liked communicating with people, and when I changed my major into that,
Sorry.
oh, it's fine. When I changed my major from that originally when I was a freshman in college, from elementary education to communications, it's still communicating, it's just on a different level of how old the people are.
Right.
And I've just been good at communicating. I liked selling and I liked communicating. And when I did a Myers-Briggs test, everything kind of pointed to public relations. Communicating, working with people, and I got into the field, and I just enjoyed it. I liked writing professionally. I liked writing for public relations. All those classes I've always done well in. So I've enjoyed it, and when I got the social media rep job, which isn't exactly public relations, but it's along the same field, I really enjoyed that as well.
Right, yeah. So when are you graduating?
I'm graduating May of 2013.
Right, so soon, pretty much, right. So can you give me an example of sort of a team project that you've worked on in any aspect of your life?
Team project. Well, with the social networking rep job that I had to work. It's not just me solely. There's a whole group of moderators and forum directors and other PR people that I've been having to work with, and we all kind of have to stick together and communicate with each other to try and make sure, if we know if the main guy wants this video out, if there's certain special celebrations or announcements for the website he wants to introduce. So we all kind of had to work together on that. So that's a bit of a team project. And then, in classes, we've had group projects. We had a research methods class I took, and we had to work in a group project on that. Real teams, just me and two other people, and we had to gather research. We had to formulate how we were going to research. Then we had to conduct the research, analyze the research, and just overall work together in a team to get that done. And we got to get great on that.
Yeah.
So I've had working in a team is not my weak point. It's definitely something strong that I'm good at.
So you mentioned weak point. What is your weak point?
A weak point. Oh, I'm not going to give you a Boy Scout answer. I'm not perfect at everything.
Right.
A weak point, I guess confidence can be a bit of a weak point. I'm very coachable. I know if you teach me this, I can do this. It's just a matter of, in the very beginning, I'll be a bit timid. Okay. I don't want to mess up at the new job that I have, so I'll be a little timid. But I definitely will know what I'm doing. It's just a matter of how confident I'll be when I'm doing it in the beginning.
Right. If I were to talk to one of your previous employers, let's pick one, like the sausage place, what words would they use to describe you?
Very interpersonal. One of the things, I've had many other retail jobs in the past, and that's the one I'm working with now. I'm very good at holding conversations and, what's the word I'm trying to look for? I'm very good at making people feel comfortable when they're talking to me. I can have casual conversations that will lead into what the big topic is. I'm just good. I'm a people person, I guess. That's how they would describe me. That's probably the best term.
So that's what they would say.
Yeah.
So you're like a people guy. Right? Yeah. Okay. Jumping back into school here, since this is your first job out of school, what class would you say helped you the most, and why? Would help you the most in this job?
Probably be either my writing for the professions class or my PR writing class. Both of them, I think they're about equal, because the PR writing class and the writing for professions, they're both along the same lines. The PR writing class is a bit more specified, but they both definitely help me understand what exactly I'd be doing in this field, writing press releases, media advisories, all the different types of writings I'd be doing. PR told me what I'd be writing, and the writing professions just really helped me figure out how to write them.
Right.
So I think those two classes are probably the best ones for the job.
What do you find the hardest thing? Are you mainly are you mainly tweeting, or what are you doing in your social media?
In social media, we technically are on 5 different social media sites: Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Dig, and StumbleUpon. Mostly the last three aren't very relevant. You know, when I first got the job and I checked it out, there wasn't anything going on there. I updated them for a little while in the beginning, but there's really nobody on there. The main two are the big ones, Facebook and Twitter.
Right.
And with those, I update those probably about either every day or every other day. I post multiple times a day, depending on how many videos have been coming out. And sometimes we'll just put out questions or polls just to kind of keep the fans interested. But it's mainly Facebook and Twitter, updating them on video releases or any new announcements. For example, recently we just got a partnership with another video game company,
Oh, yeah.
and we have to get a new channel. So we've had to take all of our subscribers from the main channel, which is about, I want to say, between 2,000 and 3,000, and have to bring them over to the new channel. So that's been a bit of a project, trying to make sure everyone knows this channel's done, we're moving to another channel.
Mm-hmm.
So that's mainly what I have to do.
What do you see, like, in terms of writing-wise, what's the biggest challenge you see in writing in this genre?
The biggest challenge will probably have to be the more professional writings. I mean, if I'm having to write to like the staff, write a memo, just write something in-house, that can be a little more formal, a little bit more lax. But if I had to write, the super professional things, press releases will probably be the most difficult. I'm not saying I can't do them. I'm just saying out of all the writings I'm going to have to do, a press release is probably the most standard and probably have to take the most amount of effort and challenge.
What about this stuff that's like the social media stuff that's on the cusp? Like, what do you mentioned a couple ones that I truthfully didn't know about, right? So what do you see emerging? Any trends in the social media?
Definitely, Facebook, Twitter, they're solid.
Right.
They're going to be there. The main ones are the three that I mentioned. Dig isn't really on the cusp. It's more of like a video sharing.
Right.
It's like not even, I won't even say third party. I'd say more of a fourth party kind of site. Reddit is definitely a big niche market.
Uh-huh.
It has a huge, it's kind of like a cult classic. It's a following, it has a very specific following, and they're very strong in their following.
And what are they?
Reddit is a
Like READ?
REDDIT.
Right.
It has many different what they call subreddits, subcategories, and it's just literally they call it the homepage of the internet. It's all the people who go on there can post anything from articles to, funny little comics to pictures, and it just has a collection of everything on there. So it definitely has the potential that if businesses were to get into it, it has the potential when it has a market there. It just has to be the correct market at the correct time. Because again, it's a cult. The general stereotype of the people that are on that website are very nonconformist, not huge on big business. So in order to get there, you'd have to find a correct way of doing it. And that has a lot of potential. So with EA and all of EA's sub-companies, such as BioWare or Tiburon, they have probably a better potential of getting onto those sites than the actual major company of EA. So that's probably the one that's on the cusp and the best one to try and get into.
Yeah, that's the. I guess you really don't have much of a market in LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, when it comes to in EA, definitely has potential because it's such a major corporation, major
Right.
business.
So they might be recruiting.
Yeah.
Like we would recruit on LinkedIn.
Definitely.
Right.
But for our website, LinkedIn, we're not the most professional. I mean, we're not saying we're not unprofessional, but
No.
we're not
right. That's
the quote
not the
professional
market.
type.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, my posts and all the thing I manage, it's much more lax. It's much more like talking to a group of friends, more so than having to talk to the masses and the public.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get that. I see. So tell me about Mad Science.
Mad Science was first. It was a part-time job I had, and then it became a full-time summer camp job that I had over the course of 2 summers. And when I changed my major from elementary education to communications, and I liked that, but I still do work very well with children. And I worked there for 2 summers. It was a full-time part over the course of 2 summers. And it was teaching a class of anywhere between 12 to 20 children, elementary age children on my own. Just teaching them fun little science experiments. And it was a camp counselor position during a day camp. I personally liked it because if you can try and communicate how to build a robot to an 8-year-old, you can explain a press release to, a 30-year-old.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think kids are the hardest people.
Oh, we had to build these little tiny robots, all these tiny little screws, and I couldn't even do it. I mean, it took me forever to do it, and I had to try and teach over the course of a week, kindergartners to 3rd graders how to build these things without losing all of their parts. That was a challenge.
Yeah. How'd you do it?
Step by step, just baby steps. They had the instructions, which like half of them were in Japanese, so you had to go by the pictures, and it's just a matter of breaking it down as best you can. You want to break it down so it's not like put your hand in, take it out. You want to just say like if there's 12 steps, you want to break it down into like 3 steps each.
Right.
I mean, I had the course of a week to do it. It's just a matter of making sure they understand the most basic of steps, so there's nothing too complex, which is kind of what you have to do in the real world, because I could bombard you with, video game jargon and, Reddit jargon, and I'm sure, no offense, you probably wouldn't have any idea what I was talking about.
I wouldn't, no.
So it's all just a matter of breaking it down, knowing that they can understand the most basic of tasks, and then just compiling all the tasks one after the other.
Are you a big video game person?
I've been a video game person my whole life. My dad was a video game person.
Really?
My dad was the story. When my mom was having my sister, she kicked him out of the room because he was sitting in a lazy boy playing his Game Boy instead of being next to her. So my dad would stay up till 2 in the morning playing Civilization on his computer. So I've always been a video game person. My dad's been a video game person. We've always just loved video games. So working for EA would just be kind of like a great job to have.
Yeah. So why should we hire you?
I think for one of the things I said earlier, well, one, I think my experience is very helpful having a communications type job already pro bono for the website, and my retail job gives you a lot of interpersonal and communication skills. But more importantly, something I said earlier, very coachable. I'm pretty sure I know mostly everything, not everything, but mostly everything I would need for an entry-level position from my classwork. But anything I don't know, I'm very coachable. Tell me how to do it, I'll do it, it's done.
Right.
I don't need to be told 50 times how to do this. You teach me how to do it once, it's done, I know how to do it, I'm set, and you can get me going.
Okay.
I think that's probably my strongest factor.
Right. Okay. So let's just stop here.
Okay.
So how do you think you did?
I think I did pretty well.
I think you did great. Yeah. You have you really, you're very relaxed, so your nerves don't get in your way. Am I reading that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least I have a good way of pretending I don't have any nerves.
Yeah, right. Well, that's what I'm asking. Are you nervous?
I always think I get a little bit of nerves, but I think I'm mostly relaxed. I know how to speak.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being a little nervous because that usually puts you on your game. But being overly nervous can get in your way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I think you have really good eye contact, and one of the things I liked about what you did was, even though I'm yawning, that's not you. I mean, you were very, you talk fast, but not too fast. So, and what that conveys is, energy and passion and excitement. And that's what you want to hire.
Oh.
Those are good traits to have. You did a very good job of explaining, and when you listen to this, I hope you'll see it. I asked you about your course, and you said, it was just the 3 of us, and we made this presentation, and then we made it, we got a good grade. So you did the STAR technique, the situation and tasks that you were assigned, the actions that you took. You probably could have gone into that, but the result was we got a good grade. So that was good. When you said your weak point, I think I love that. I'm not going to give you the Boy Scouting, so you know, I knew it was for real,
Mhm.
and I think it's an honest one, you know, and I think it does show some humility, especially for, again, that entry-level person,
Mhm.
you know, without being
Yeah, well,
over the top.
the thing my parents always taught me, like ever since I was little, even when like I'm not like I was just like a freshman in high school, like my dad always sees people and they're like, "Oh, I want to get this big job." I want like, I know I can't just come out of college and boom, I'm gonna be a PR manager controlling a bunch of people. No, I gotta start on the bottom,
Right.
entry level position, 6 month contract. It's a starting point. You have to start somewhere. You can't just jump to the top.
Right.
And I mean that's it honestly seems like a prime entry level position. It's exactly the field I want to get into. Full time for
Right.
6 months, you know, gets my name with the company. Everything's just about gaining and building experience. It's a snowball effect. I mean, that's why I'm glad I got the social networking thing I have now, just because I have that, and then I'm gonna have my practicum in the winter, and then maybe I can get an internship during the spring, and then I can apply for this, and I'll have 3 communications references right there for them to look at and say, oh, he knows what he's doing.
Right. I think you can't go wrong with the social media, and I think the only thing that you did was you mentioned at least twice
Mhm.
that maybe it was before we started interviewing the first time, like that you were working pro bono.
Mm.
There's some good things about that, but there's not some good things. You know what I mean? Like mention it once, fine. Don't mention it again.
Okay.
And the only reason is, you know, we don't want them to focus on that. You know, we would. So you can say, look, how much a week do you work?
There's really no set hours. It's just whatever.
But you work at least a half hour to an hour a day
Yeah.
for them, I'd say.
Yeah, it's not really that much.
Okay,
So.
but you make an entry daily,
Mhm.
essentially
Yeah.
you said, or every other day.
Mhm.
But so you can say, you know, this was, I did it pro bono because I wanted the experience, and it turned out to be, and then say what you think you got from it. You know,
Gotcha.
right?
Mhm.
You know, so make it like I really learned a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really about the only feedback I would have. Where are they located? This company?
He is
California.
the EA. That job it's hard to say because they have so many different studios all across. This specific one's in
Red
California.
Shores,
Yeah, this specific one's in California.
Right. Okay. So, truthfully, I don't know the culture
Mhm.
of this place. My guess is it's a pretty laid back culture.
It's a little more laid back. I mean, the big company EA is the most professional out of all their like sub companies, but
Right.
it's definitely still laid back. Like just reading when I was on the career page, their like advice for students on how to get internships is not the terminology they use seemed a little bit more laid back and
Right.
relaxed.
So what I'm trying to get at is clothing.
Mhm.
What do you think you'd wear to interview?
If I had the clothes, like again, I didn't really want to wear a polo and khakis, but if I had the clothing, I would probably have a nice collared shirt with a tie and probably still khakis and
Right.
my dress shoes.
Right.
I don't think a suit and tie. I mean, if I was going for like a really good position, I mean, suit and tie definitely. But I think for an entry level position, PR from California, a nice collared shirt with a good tie and slacks.
See, I kind of disagree.
Okay.
PR, you keep saying PR. PR is much more than the social media.
Yeah.
Right. So PR is the broad term. But if
Mhm.
you were going for a social media position, I think that's the more hip.
Gotcha.
PR is the old fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. We're all,
Mhm.
I hope we always have it because
Mhm.
it's great, you know. So it's print, it's dealing with the press.
So
it's
student.
I would say, I
Yeah.
don't think you can go wrong. But it could be an edgy suit. It could be, you know, like you
Mhm.
could have, you know, a loud tie or something. But on the social media, yes, I think it's going to be young people. It's going to be, and the job is about gaming.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, so if this were about cars and social media, it'd be a suit.
Yeah.
So I think those rolled into one. But if you can like see pictures on the website and all that, but again, remember, you're not dressing like them because you're not one of them.
Yeah.
Yet, right? You know, so you can't almost go wrong with this suit, but yet we don't want them to think you're stuffy.
Yeah.
I think it's a very good thing. to say that, my dad was a gamer, give that little funny vignette, I grew up with this. I mean, that actually is great because then they know you really know the product.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Because that's like, I mean, I've never played a game in my life, you know what I mean? So, that would, I think those are very good things. And the thing about being coachable, it's a good thing to say, again, for a young person. And you did a nice job. Like, well, I'm not trying to say I, don't know what I'm doing, but everybody needs instruction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna be coming in to talk about your resume, but I'm just gonna give you a few little things, but I'm not gonna spend much time on it because I don't have much time.
Gotcha.
But this is like, looks like it's part of this, but it's really,
The footer, yeah.
yeah. So maybe running along here in one line. I need to know it's a footer. It needs to be in a different font. Maybe it needs to be gray instead of black. I don't know, but it needs to be something.
Okay.
You're always working from the present to the past.
Present
to the past.
I was going reverse.
Yep. Well, think about it.
The first thing they want to see is
What you're doing now.
Yeah.
Typically, there's always exceptions, but you know what I mean. And I think we really need to get this to one page, and these can be on a separate page. References can be on a separate page.
Okay.
But you really, teaching a class of 12 students, handling a small class of children, same thing.
Gotcha.
Right. So, learning all information in a small period, multitasking. Interpersonal skills with a large variety of people. Maybe something like honed interpersonal and salesmanship skills with a large variety of people. So so that's all one. We're combining it. Changing, and then you could even say changing styles of communication when necessary. In-person advertising. I think the demonstrator gets at that, so I don't know that you need that. But this, because this is, especially if this resume were for this job, you really need to mention Facebook, Twitter, minor input into those other things that you're mentioning. Yeah, be specific.
Gotcha. That's the kicker. That's the main one. Gotcha.
I don't know, I'd have to think this through, but like for this job, you might put, serious gamer. You might put social media that you've been involved in, or blogger, or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, you're on the right track here.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I've needed